Does America want a third lane in the 2024 presidential race?
High bars, which is the major party nominees need to continue to be really unpopular, but a unity ticket needs to have an outright path to victory.
So speak to me about process. What is going to take place a year from now, if that's the timeline?
Well, we're going to have a whole procession of events coming up, Michael. And look, it'll start this summer. So after July, you will see us release something called our common sense agenda. These are the results-oriented ideas we know the vast majority of the country is going to want based on extensive polling and research we've done. It's something that two major parties refuse to give them. So that'll start to put definition around this, and then work backwards from our convention in April in Dallas. That's the latest point we decide whether to nominate a ticket.
Let's talk about the criticism. Third way. It's funny, I have a colleague, Sam Feist, here at CNN, who runs the Washington Bureau, and we go back and forth on the issue of how does this all play out. I'm going to put on the screen 6 of 7 states where the margin was 3 points or less in 2020. Third way says even a paltry third-party performance would therefore put 79 Biden electoral votes at risk. Arizona, PA, Michigan, Nevada, Georgia, Wisconsin. You've heard the argument. What's your response?
Michael, the problem with that argument is when everybody looks at past third-party candidacies, Nader, Gary Johnson, Jill Stein, those were protest candidates. No one who ever voted for those candidates thought they were actually voting for a president. No labels will not nominate a ticket like that. We will only nominate a ticket that we think can win. And by the way, based on the polling we're looking at today, an independent ticket is polling evenly from both sides. So we are not seeing an advantage accruing to one major party candidate or another.
Ryan, you know, of course, that if nobody gets to 270, the magic number to win the election, then the House of Representatives gets to make the decision, and each state delegation is given 1 vote, meaning Alaska and California, you're equals. Many say, well, the current composition of the House is such that Republicans would have the edge and consequently could be expected to vote for the Republican candidate. What's your answer to that?
Well, the current composition of the House doesn't matter because the House that would determine a president, if it ever went there, would be the one seated in January 2025. That's number one. The second thing is there's actually an opportunity even before the House meets in the Electoral College where there's actually a surprising number of states that don't have bound electors. So if a no labels ticket won some electoral votes, they could use that as a bargaining chip to get some support from one of the major party nominees. But look, in the end, we're preparing for that because you got to do all your diligence, but we won't nominate a ticket unless we think it can win outright in the Electoral College.
Okay. How about the old adage, you can't beat somebody with nobody? How do you know that there will be quality candidates who will step forward and be willing to accept, the no labels ballot position that you secure?
We don't. And look, and that's why we always talk about this as an insurance policy. We are 18 months out from the election. We are a year out from having to make a decision. The only thing we know with any certainty, Michael, is what you said at the top. 2/3 of the country doesn't want the election the two major parties are about to force them to get. And so we think a year from now, if there's an opening and people want this ticket, people are going to be very happy that we've laid the groundwork and got the ballot access where there's at least another choice.
People like to mention Joe Manchin. People like to mention Kyrsten Sinema, Larry Hogan. Others like to dream of Admiral William McRaven. Thoughts?
Sure. All the names that you've heard out there are names that other people have floated. So No Labels isn't talking to candidates. We're not speculating about the names of candidates. We are head down, working to get ballot access, working to put definition around what this kind of ticket could stand for when we release our common sense policy agenda shortly after July 4th. And it is going to become very clear to people when you look at this agenda that there is a lot that the public wants that the two major party nominees simply refuse to give them.
Well, the polling data today supports what you're saying. Ryan, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
More social media reaction now. What do we have? No Labels is a Donald Trump re-election pack. All it will do is fracture the vote, but Trump's most loyal will stick to him like glue. Anyone who thinks otherwise is delusional, says the real doctor. Really? You're disbelieving of all that data. I mean, how about the fact that, and I discussed this here recently, a plurality of Americans are neither R's nor D's. We are I's. 49% of the country says, I identify as an independent, not as a Republican or a Democrat. Who speaks for us? Maybe it's the election where finally the numbers are backed up by candidates who want to seize that mantle. Do we have, Catherine, the map? I never got to it with Ryan. Put up the map that No Labels presents. Because they say we're not in it to be spoilers. We're in it to win it. Do you have that handy? Can we put that up? I mean, here it comes. They've got a scenario where they say there are 25 states that they think they can absolutely win, and this thing doesn't go. There it is. I mean, I don't know. Who the hell knows? I said at the outset, the only thing any of us knows for sure is that we have no idea which way this is going to go. I've been paying attention for more than 30 years. I've never seen a cycle with the unpredictability as the one that is commencing now. In any event, go vote at Smerconish.com on this week's poll question, okay? Here it is. I want to know if you're open to the idea. Are you open to the idea? I'm not asking, are you going to vote for, because we don't even know who the candidates are. But are you open to the idea of voting for a No Labels third-party candidate? Go check that out. Still to